How's it, punters? Welcome back to this Best Sports Betting Podcast special. Today, Simon and I, or Simon mostly, is going to be talking about Deal No Deal, and I'm going to be throwing in little bits from my end. Simon, Deal No Deal, cracking game based on the popular game that I think some of us might have caught on television, mostly an American thing, so I don't think too many South Africans, unless they have, I think it was on Mnet or something like that, are familiar with the game. But it basically involves you having to qualify for the game show first off before you can get in. And once you're in there, you go through the whole suitcase spiel. But we're going to run through a bit of it run through the game in a bit more detail today. Where would you like to start? I think the qualifying is maybe a good place to start.
Yeah, so first of all, it does this game does a great job of kind of creating the same sort of experience that participants would have on the real life game show, it starts off with quite an interesting qualifying round, which can be a little bit frustrating, I suppose, because a lot of other live games, you don't have to qualify. You can obviously go straight into the studio and start playing the game, but there is a qualification round in Deal or No Deal, which basically involves you having to spin the wheel of a vault. And what you need to do is you need to adjust or spin the wheel and get the gold bars to line up and unlock the vault. And what you can do in this qualification round is you can actually adjust the difficulty to your own preference. And so you can basically bet a little bit more and spend a little bit more money to make the qualification round a little bit easier. So basically what it'll do is by making it easier, you'll lock in a few of the gold pieces so that it's easier to line up the three in a row that you need to unlock it. So that's the first round, and then you move into the prize top up round after that, which is where you basically increase the size of the money in the suitcases that you have, of course, the potential to win at the end of the game. So again, you need to spend a little bit of money here if you want to. It's kind of in the essence, this game is the more you put in, the more you get out to some extent. So
yes, so the qualification round, I think, is what is one of the most frustrating rounds of the game, because you can click that wheel so many times. Just trying to get the kind of slots to line up, and when you change it from like easy to very easy or normal, it changes the stake amount, and obviously then the requirements change. So sometimes you can click first time on normal and you'll line them all up, it'll be perfect and you'll be happy and everything will be going your way. But then there will be times where you do all of that and you just keep clicking and spinning and nothing happens at all. Which I think is the biggest drawback of the game. I've actually got it up on screen now, and you'll see if I put it on normal. Let's put a 10 rand on there and give that a spin. You actually need all three of these to line up, which is very difficult. But then you pop it on very easy, and your spin amount actually goes up significantly. So it does make it quite difficult to qualify.
Yeah, and also what that also means is when you do get to, or hopefully you qualify and get to the game show round, which is the third and final round, you must just remember how much you've spent on your bets, because obviously all this betting that you're doing before you start playing is obviously also gonna you need to think about what you've spent when you're making your decisions as to whether to accept the banker's offer or not. So just bear that in mind. And then the game show round, I suppose, is what you think of when you think of the game, and that is obviously with your hosts opening a number of briefcases at a time, and when they do that, obviously those amounts will then be eliminated from the side of your screen there, and hopefully you'll be left with the biggest amount possible. So after each set of briefcases opens, the banker will then make you an offer based on the amounts that are left on the screen, and you'll then obviously make your decision as to to take the deal or not take the deal. So that's basically the aim of the game.
Yeah, and in the qualifying round, you can choose to top up a particular set of numbers. You can choose to top up number 3, number 9, number 14, basically your own lucky numbers or any numbers that you reckon will come in, and then those suitcases, as you said, start opening. And you got to decide then, do you want to take the deal if your number hasn't been revealed in one of the suitcases, or do you want to kind of hold out for the big win, which will guarantee you the amount that you kind of see on the side where it shows. So you can see I've just on screen I've just taken that deal there for number 8, because I don't think that one's going to come up. But that's the game surmised. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of strategies you can employ in this game. Is there any way that you can sort of, like, I don't want to say guarantee a win, but where could you improve your sort of betting on this game, Simon?
Yeah,
do you have any ideas?
I think so. I think for most live casino games, it's not really a way to cheat the game, but there's certainly more optimal ways of playing. And I think, there are no shortcuts necessarily. I think for this game, it is a lot about how much you put in is how much you get out. So if you want to win a big prize, you need to top up your suitcases and obviously spend money to do that. So, it's going to be a very small chance of you winning a big prize if you don't bet a lot. So it's it's slightly different from something like a lucky numbers game where you do have the opportunity to win a huge amount with a small bet. And then the other thing is you must remember that the only guaranteed payout is the banker's offer. So if you keep saying no deal, there's always that chance that the big amount is going to be removed from the board and you're going to then end up with nothing. So I think that one strategy would be to not be too greedy. I from what I've seen in this game, I think if the banker sort of offers you around an amount of 2 times what you've staked. Now, just remember, when you're working out what you've staked, also think about what you spent in the qualification round. So if the banker's giving you spent 100 Rand in total and the banker's offering you 200, well, then I think you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can carry on and keep playing, but at the end of the day, you've made $100 and you've doubled your money, and I think that's pretty good. And then one other last tip I'll give is, I think, and this is just a personal preference, but I wouldn't switch the briefcases at the end, because so just to kind of explain this, so once you get to the final round, you have the opportunity to either switch the briefcase, which what's inside, because that's the amount that's sitting there, or to swap that for the briefcase which is on the host's desk, and you have no idea how much is in there. So obviously that amount that's in his briefcase could be more or less than yours. But I think that's an unnecessary risk to take. I think that, look, the chances are, if you've got this far and you've kept on not taking the deal, the amount that you have is probably quite a high amount. So I wouldn't necessarily swap those briefcases and have the chance of getting a much smaller amount. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, I agree. I like to cash out, and I don't play the game that often. I do find it is quite an investment when you're using the top up, when you're spinning the top up wheel. That's where you want to invest your money. Which numbers you want to play, and you hopefully you get a nice big kind of multiplier there, because there are no other multipliers in the game except for that one, and that actually counts quite a lot. And I usually cash out after the first two sets of suitcases are open. So they open the first 3, and once those ones have been opened, I kind of see what I have left, what numbers I have left. Am I making profit? Am I making a loss? And I'll wait until the next round, and if those next 4 suitcases open and I'm still in the running, I will look and see what that cash out offer is. And if that cash out offer is higher than my bet amount, I usually say about 50% more, then I will take the offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it always depends, with all betting games, what kind of player you are and what your sort of appetite for risk is. But if it's sometimes, if you can walk away with double your money or 50% more of your money, and perhaps play another round and see if you get luckier, rather than risking it all. So I think it just depends on what kind of player you are. But that would be my option. My choice would be certainly to play it a little bit safer towards the end there and not switch your briefcase.
Yeah, but that all, obviously, it all comes down to what numbers and what amounts you have, and it is very luck based in that sense. And unfortunately, there are no big multipliers. So as we said in the beginning, this is all down to how much you're actually willing to spend on the game. If you're willing to bet big, I think you can make some big bucks on it. But if you're a small punter who's betting maybe let's say between 1 and 10 Rand on the game, this is probably not going to be the game for you. You're not going to pick up those big wins.
Just to re-emphasize your point, Rob. So basically, you can win up to 500 times your original bet. So look, that is a big amount. It's not a small amount by any means, but so that would be the best case scenario. So it is a lot about how much you bet in terms of how much you win in this game, more than some other live games where you can bet a small amount and have a good chance of winning big.
All right, so we heard it there, guys. It's maybe a game for those who bet a little bigger. There is quite a bit of risk involved. There are kind of 3 different phases to the game, and all of them are vital to what your payout is going to be. And all three of those phases need to go well for you in order to make a big profit. And the max payout you're going to get is 500 times, which is not the biggest, especially when you look at other games like Crazy Time or Lightning Dice. Even something like Mega Ball, where you can still win the biggest multiplier amount on a single card for a single rand, for example.
There we go. Yeah.
You can't do that on Deal or No Deal. It's not going to happen. The most you can win from your 1 rand is going to be 500 rand. That's even, I think that's even if you get really lucky. I think that's going to cost you more than a rand, because I don't even think you can actually play the game. Well, you can play the game with 1 rand. You're going to need to get that normal spin, to land for you right in the beginning, and then you're just going to have to play for the 50 rand or 70 rand max that's on Red 16, which I think is 50 rand. So that's the most you'll really be able to win then, because you're not going to be topping up anything with a multiplier.
I would say you should have at least 10-20 rand in your account to even consider playing this game.
Yeah, and even then I can't quite recommend it. This is definitely one for punters with a bigger balance. But Simon, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Hopefully some punters can go check out the guide on Betting Guide. Go over to bettingguide.co.za. We've got a nice deal or no deal guide where Simon's gone through everything about the game, how to play it, all the different qualification rounds, some strategies you can use, ones that we've discussed in this episode. And Simon, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next one. Let us know in the comments below if you guys are enjoying Deal or No Deal Live. Cheers, guys.